Adam, so we help businesses acquire other businesses all the time. And one of the things that comes up is the diligence process, where you're going in, you're looking at all the problems, the things that are happening in the company. You're trying to decide, okay, which of these are significant issues and which aren't. Can you talk a little bit about, if you're buying a company that has employees, what are some of the issues you should be thinking about?
Yeah, so my firm does get hired from time to time to help with the due diligence process involved in a transaction or a merger to look specifically at this issue. And some of the things that we're going to look at are, are there any red flags? Are there pending workplace related lawsuits? What are the nature of those lawsuits? What are the nature of those claims? Are there pending demand letters that could turn into a lawsuit? Because the timing does matter with respect to the transaction, because just because you don't have a pending lawsuit doesn't mean one cannot turn into one at the time you purchase the business. So you want to make sure that you identify any red or yellow flags as far as pending lawsuits, pending demand letters, charges of discrimination, things like that. Once you complete that process, then the more subtle, I would say, yellow flags are there things that could turn into demand letters or lawsuits at some later time, or let's say an audit, an expensive problem that a prospective buyer doesn't want to deal with, such as, misclassification of workers. Are there 1099s that should be W-2? How is the payroll set up? Are there too many people who are deemed exempt, which should maybe be non-exempt? Are there issues with like payment to of wages in general? Start looking at those types of issues, because those could be yellow flags, which maybe have not materialized to the level of a audit, demand letter, or lawsuit, but they could someday for a buyer. And then another thing to look at are, what formalities or lack thereof are there in place for the company? Does the company have an employee handbook? When was that handbook updated? Does the company have employment agreements in place? When were those updated? What do those even look like? Were they done by a lawyer? Were they done by somebody that's not a lawyer? What do the employment documents look like? Because if those were done improperly, that could lead to problems down the road too. So, there's a variety of other issues that we dive into, but I would say at the forefront, we're really looking at red flags, yellow flags, and things that can potentially turn into a yellow or red flag. And that will be a cause for concern for a potential buyer for sure.